Hello, everybody. My name is Jonathan Schrantz, and today I did want to share with you guys here on Twitch. It's going to be a little bit different today. I'm going to show you guys a tricky trap that you guys can play as black if your opponent plays the French Exchange. I actually just played this game offline, and I really wanted to share it with you guys because it's one of these openings where there's this one tricky, trappy line, and all the time I get it, and I win, I think, every single game. I've had it at least 5 times now. You don't always get it, but if you don't get it, usually it's because something really good is happening. And a lot of people were asking about it, so let's just dive right into it. First of all, I just want to show you the game that I played. I guess it was 2 hours, and I don't know why. It said I'm studying this game. Uh-oh. Hopefully you guys don't go and reveal all my secret opening prep pre-lecture. But here we go. I played this game, and yeah, I'm going to hide the notation just for a minute here. We can go right back to it. But it's the French Exchange, and in this position, you know, you play c5, you play like normal, and after knight to f3, the main move is queen to b6, and the main idea for black in this opening typically is to put a ton of pressure on that d-pawn. Usually this knight, one way or another, can make its way over to f5, and the main idea is to put as much pressure on the center immediately as possible. However, I like this move, bishop to d7, and after here, I play this other tricky move. You guys know the trick. After this really tricky move, I like to not play the main move, which is queen to b6, and not the secondary move, which is taking and then playing queen to b6. I like this very tricky move, rook to c8. And this is a weird move. Nobody plays this move, so already most opponents are thrown off. However, the main idea is to now be able to take and play knight to b4 to win the bishop pair. And so all the time when I do get this opening, that's exactly what happens. They castle, I take here, and I play knight to b4. And this is already really good for black. It's not the kind of thing that I think white should really be aiming for. And we're going to get this guy back, so most people are going to go here, and you're going to take the bishop. It is kind of surprising. A lot of people have gone here against me, which is just a free exchange. You just go, and you're going to win that rook. And yeah, so obviously they need to kind of block like this. You'll take, and then another mistake that they tend to make is after a move like knight to e7. A lot of people go here, which is fine, but after h6, most people I think actually play queen to b6, but h6 actually entices yet another mistake by white. In this kind of position, they should stay over here on this diagonal, go somewhere back here. But most people are just going to end up going back here. You get this all the time, where g5 and here, also starting with queen to b6, is probably decent as well. Gives you tremendous pressure, not only on the center, because you're kind of threatening to play g4, but you also have the ideas of just kind of pushing on this side and getting a lot of pressure. And I think if we actually turn the engine on really quick, it'll say, like, yeah, this is just really bad. Yeah, if they don't stay on this diagonal, if they do go back here, you play g5, and yeah, it's -2 already. So people fall for that all the time. But needless to say, if they play this way, which you probably will get in this exact position, you'll get people to castle most often. Just go take the bishop. You have 2 bishops, and it's totally fine for black. So I like it when that happens. However, in this game, my opponent saw this coming, and you know, a lot of times I do this. So a3 is a very good move. Now I'll never be able to play knight to b4, and you know, they stopped me from doing my thing. Well, now I have another idea. I first take. They take back. Queen b6. Totally normal. And now, because my bishop is on d7, I actually am threatening to win a pawn. Some people will give it, which is maybe okay. I mean, you can castle. Such gambits exist where they give you the pawn. But most people, if they played a3, their idea is they're going to keep that d-pawn. And the way to do that is with this move, bishop to c2. And here is where the fun begins. This is why I wanted to show you this line. I don't know what you guys would play as black. We have a live audience today, so it is kind of nice. I can actually ask you guys what you would play here as black and see what your ideas are. There's probably a lot of okay moves, but I don't know. If you've never seen this before, I don't know if you would play what I played in this game earlier today. King e7 was not my choice. Knight g5. It's black to move. Black to move. Knight h. You're saying knight h5? You mean knight h4? It's black to move here. White has just played bishop to c2. And the bishop here actually sometimes becomes a tactical target. That's not necessarily the best square. Knight e7 looks like just the most natural move, right? Knight e7, maybe you're going to f5, maybe you're going to g6. Knight e7, totally normal move. Bishop to b4, hangs a bishop. Knight to d4 is definitely kind of coming to the radar. Quite is not quite right on this one. This is going to be part of the idea. However, we can actually improve this. We can make this move actually better than it is. Knight d4 winning. Knight d4 is a very typical move in these kinds of positions. Knight h6 being suggested. This also seems like just a totally normal, legit idea. Queen a5. I don't want to move the queen again. She's already doing a good job. She has a lot of pressure on the center, and she's kind of tying this bishop down to the b pawn. So I didn't move the queen again. This is close. This is very, very close to the idea. The way to improve upon this, and you possibly could do this right now, is I played the move g5. G5, that's the move. G5. Hey! And Condito rating with a party of 11. Holy cow. Shout out to N Condito. I hope you had a great stream. Thanks for rating with a party of 11. Yeah, go check out N Condito. They've actually been rating quite a bit. And if you're just joining us, we've just showing this lecture here, and we just played this bold move, G5. And, you know, it's kind of one of these weird, oddball, off-the-radar kind of moves. And it's interesting because there's two pieces that can take, but both of them have a responsibility. Both pieces are overworked. If you take with the knight, which I've actually had one time, you just simply can take here. The knight was the defender of the d-pawn, and now you're on this, and this becomes a target. And I had a game, and it got even worse for my opponent, because after knight to c3, which looks pretty normal, I simply took here, forcing this queen into this pin, and this is kind of why I'm saying that bishop on c2 becomes a tactical target. You just attack this thing, and I was able to win this game. The other thing that I guess people might try in a position like this is here, but I believe black actually has a strong move in this position as well. You can play queen to b3, where if they ever exchange, you take back and you're on the rook. And if you don't exchange, then we're threatening moves like rook to c1 to remove the defender of this guy. So, yeah, thank you guys for coming over from the raid, and thanks for all the follows, you guys. So something like this is tremendous for black already. So, knight really shouldn't take. If the bishop takes, then you hang the b-pawn. And what tends to happen is, due to these, like the threats over here, I had a game where somebody did something similar to this, and they just gave up a rook. So I had a game in this too. I think they castled, and I think they lost their rook. There is a trick line where white actually can give up the rook in these kinds of positions, but this isn't exactly where it is. So if neither of those can take, what you're really doing is you're provoking this move h3. And I think you can continue the aggression this way. But now we did Quite's idea. Now I hit him with Quite's idea. Knight takes d4. And we'll see, by playing g5 and h3, we've actually made this idea a lot stronger. So most people are going to take back with a knight. I've never seen anybody take back with a queen. But if they do, at minimum, you can just take here. And this actually becomes interesting because white can play here. And I think actually black has a lot of good options. Bishop c5 seems to be fine. I think the computer's preference is actually knight to e7 for some reason. But something like this leads to an interesting game where you kind of make sure that your rook doesn't get trapped. And it kind of chills in there for a little bit. Maybe white will be able to get it. Maybe you'll have to sack an exchange. But it ends up being okay for black. But no one's ever played that against me. And in the database, we're still in like 100 game territory. So like 100 times they take back with a knight, and like 5 times they take with a queen. We're already to the territory where like everybody takes with a knight. And here now, you follow up with bishop to c5. And here, I've had this 5 times. I've had this position 5 times. Nobody's played the right move against me. And you know, I play other players that are 2300 plus rated. None of them have found the right move here. So here's a challenge. Like, get to know this from the white perspective. There's a lot of candidate moves. There's knight moves and bishop moves, and you can castle. Like, there's like so many moves here. What would you guys play as white? When white takes the queen, don't you have the... do we have the immediate rook takes c1? We have to take on c2 first. Oh, okay. So yeah, in this line... Oh, yeah. Okay, so I actually have goofed this. Let's take a quick peek here. Let's take a quick peek here. So it goes like this, and then... Oh, no, it does go like this. Because if you take here... King d2. Ow, attacking your rook. You still have to take the queen back. Ow, that's kind of funny. That's funny. That's a funny one. Yes, you actually want to take the queen back, and it's good for black. That's funny. Yeah, there's a lot of traps. A lot of traps. So, yeah, that actually is... It was a good question, because I didn't think about that. What would you put the knight, though, guys? Holy cow. Bishop e3 is being suggested. This is definitely a candidate move. Definitely a candidate move. Knight e2 being suggested. Definitely a good candidate move. So, yeah. I think other moves that I've seen also include knight to f3 and knight to b3. And only one of these is right. Castling, I haven't seen, but it's a candidate, right? So you're giving up the piece. You're just going to get the piece back and get castled. That also seems like a good candidate move. Knight c3. Yeah, so there's a lot of moves where maybe you're just giving the piece back that, you know, I think these all are reasonable. But only one is correct, and only one will save white here. White has to be incredibly, incredibly careful here. And so far, nobody I've ever played has found it. So I'm not going to say exactly what it is yet. I will show the game. In the game, my opponent played knight to b3, and I've had this position twice. So two of my opponents have decided to play knight to b3, and they both ended the same way, and I didn't even play the best moves. But I guess I didn't play the best move twice. But now you take here. He went here. And I believe here I already didn't play the best move. Which is funny, because I've had this game before. I've had this position twice, and both times I've played here, which obviously wins. But yeah, Demi is on the ball. Demi the trickster is on the ball. Rook takes c2 is the absolute strongest move. And then this is coming in next. So, yeah, I mean, this is just lights out. That's just killer. I mean, there's really nothing white can do here. So Rook takes c2. I mean, that's game over. Both of my games, I've gone here, which threatens mate. And both times my opponent has played here. Both times I've played here. One time my opponent resigned in this position. That was this game. One time I had an opponent play here. I took here, and then they resigned because the queen is pinned, and you're going to get checkmated. So, I mean, this is just how fast it can go wrong. And it's just instantly, you know, checkmate right here on the board. So here's the game I played today. It actually ended right here. And I've had that twice. So that's just kind of a little indication of just how quick it can go downhill. Knight f3 is the other, you know, normal move. That seems like a nice, responsible move, you know. You're going to go here, but it suffers from the same problem that after we take here, we're going to be able to play this, which we can do now, or I think we can potentially look for the same sort of sacrifices. Not 100% sure why this wouldn't work in this exact position. But this is already going to say completely lost. And yeah, so once here, if here, like all these moves are going to win. If here, you're giving them time for queen d4, but obviously that should win. If here, I like that it plays like g3 or whatever. You know, this seems like it's going to be a very similar story if they end up taking here, so that also is going to win. This is the absolute strongest move, where if here, I suppose we have all sorts of threats. I like that this is the strongest move. Bishop to g3 is actually the strongest move, but obviously taking here should win, taking here should win. Everything should end up winning. So knight f3 is actually a huge mistake. And it's just the Vampire Chicken Gambit. I'm not the first to do it, but it is just one of those ones that I do like to... I like these gambits where you really catch people sleeping. And this one's good, and there's no real downside to playing this. Like, you get a good position even if they play some other line. Like, so there's absolutely no downside to playing this one. The most interesting to me is this line. This is like the trickiest, trappiest line. I've never seen anybody do this, and it's like almost 0 games in the database. Seems correct to a lot of you guys. A lot of people are saying bishop to e3, which is cool because there's already a trick here. Like, this is bad for white. It's like -1 or like worse. But, okay, check it out. So you've hung this pawn, right? Okay, you hung this guy. And now I think most people, you know, would just play here. Because that defends the rook. Knight e2, right? That's what you guys are saying. Knight e2. Defend your rook. This is actually a mistake, though. Because I can play here. You don't have time to, like, kick my queen or anything because this other guy is hanging. So even if you take back here, I can now choose which bishop I want to take. So this is actually not correct. You can play this line. If you want to trap as white, if you have this as white somehow and somebody's trying to trap you, you can play this bishop e3 line and you can castle. And it's a trap. Yummy rook. Yummy rook. Eat it up. Eat it up. Knight b3. Uh-oh. Knight b3 hits you, and this actually is going to be good for white. The problem is it not only attacks the queen, but it's attacking this bishop. Yeah, everything's a trap. So then you go back, and they're going to win this guy, and this actually is going to end up being good for white, if you can believe it or not. So instead, white castles. Bishop takes d4. And hey, wait a minute. Now what's up? Now what's going on? Because, yeah, now they're just going to take this back. But this thing's hanging. What's up? What are they going to do? You know, if you just take me, I take your bishop. No big deal. Rook a2! Rook a2 is the best move. With the big idea that if you take here, bishop to b3. Easy. And now black's got to get out of this mess. Now you got to get out of this mess. If you go here, we're just going to take this back. Queen trapped. Done. What's black going to do? Obviously, rook to c1. How do you like rook to c1? You like that one? And black's back on top. Black's back on top after rook to c1. Idea being, if you take with the bishop, you lose this knight. So you're going to want to take with the queen, but now we can start taking some of these pieces. For example, we can just take right here, or we can take the other bishop, you know, like, and suddenly black is actually emerging back on top after whatever happens here. So absolutely insane. And just to show you guys with the computer engine, this whole line with bishop to e3, just to give you kind of an indication of just how insane it is. So black is better. Like, so definitely black is better. Knight to d2 just immediately is a problem after here. So knight to d2, you just take right here. So they castle. You don't take. Oh my gosh, you do not want to take. You do not want to take. You want to instead take here. And after rook to a2, this amazing, amazing move, I guess you can, yeah, you can take. And after they go here, rook to c1 is the game winner. I guess you can even play here, which is fine. But rook to c1. How beautiful is that? Yeah, something like this. Queen to b2 is fine. Taking the other guy's fine, but this is probably the best move. Yeah, something like that. And good for black. Good for black. So, I mean, so that's fascinating. I love these lines because it's absolutely insanely fascinating. But that brings us to what is, after queen to b6, g5, sack the knight. What is the best move? The best move for white is actually to play the move knight to e2. And the idea of knight to e2, this is the ideal square for the knight because you're covering the g3 square, which is very, very important. So in lines where we take here and we want to bring our bishop back, now we can't do it. So this is the best way for white to play. After we take here now, they will need to move over, and they have stopped us from playing what we want to do and what has just been working in every single other line. Black can now follow up, and this is the absolute best, and it's like very close to equal. Maybe it's good for black, maybe it's good for white. Computer's got no idea. But you play this move f6, and they're in real danger if they take. So they can't take. White's got to, you know, start developing some stuff. And I don't know which side you prefer, but with the king on f1 and the f-file opening up, I really do like black's chances in this line. If you take right away, we go here, we castle, and just, you're already in danger because the knight just hops around so fast. So white needs to go here, and after we recapture, there's one more trick here. Looks like humans have gone here. I don't think this is actually the best move. And the reason, the last trick, the last trap that we need to be aware of is after knight to a4, I believe black can actually already play queen to c6. But knight to a4 is definitely the reason white put this knight here, so watch out for that. The knight wants to go to a4. He's trying to remove the defender of the bishop. So yeah, when you got that bishop there, king is touching it, you want to make sure. White's trying to remove the defender. But after here, immediately, queen to c6 is a pretty good idea. And yeah, if they take here, we'll take, you know, one of these things, and it should be fine. I think better is here. And the idea is that we've now gotten rid of this, so now there's never going to be any of this double attacks on the bishop here. We're never going to be able to move the queen away. And what white wants to do is take the bishop and then play knight to a4, where queen to c6 won't be a threat, because the knight will be defended. And then, you know, so how to blunder, let's just like make a blunder. Here now, it's not going to be so easy to keep connected to this guy. And this knight is protected, so if you move away, you lose your bishop. So I think, yeah, white should try this. Looks like it's never happened, but that's what they should try. And then black just needs to know they're trying to take and play here. So you play a move like this, and the game continues. You follow it up. You bring the knight in. You put the rook on f8. You castle or don't castle, depending on the situation. And you play this position. And so this is, I think, theoretically the best white can do if they go in for this trappy line. And you can see it's 0-0. I love black's chances. The open f-file and the bishops on these diagonal give us a huge chance for a big attack. Our, you know, so-called bad bishop is probably going to get traded. Things are going to go to the f-file, and this is just going to be a tremendous attack for black. So this one's really cool. No real downside to playing this way with bishop to d7 and rook to c8. It's just a very good line. And yeah, again, one more time. If they castle, you go here and you win the bishop pair. And if they play the more adventurous, exciting way, you take a couple times. And after they save their pawn, g5 first, followed by this knight sacrifice and a big, massive attack. And most people won't play the best moves. If they do, it's equal, but you still have awesome chances. And if they play anything else, you just win immediately. And in my experience, they always play something else here. Nobody plays this right. So I hope you guys did enjoy that. If you did, please, this will go up on YouTube, I think. So thanks for being here live. This is kind of fun. Let me know, too. Let you guys in the live audience, let me know if you like these lectures on Twitch. And you guys can tell me if you like live lectures in the YouTube comments below. So hit like, share, subscribe like always. And I'll see you guys again for more videos on these awesome, tricky, trappy lines.